Hey folks, it's Saturday and we're back with Dungeons & Dragons. Hooray!
Hooray?
That was less enthusiastic.
I think we're all waiting for Iron Kingdoms.
What?
Okay. Anyways, so when we last left off, our heroes had been investigating a conflict between the town of Greystone and the brain not working. The Black Wolf tribe.
Yeah, I knew it was something to do with wolves.
I was trying to remember the adjective. I'm blanking on the adjective. Damn it.
Effectively, we have dealt with the tribe and gotten them to want to approach the negotiations peacefully, but we don't know if the village is willing to approach the negotiations peacefully.
Well, seeing as they initially tried to approach the negotiations peacefully and then got tarred and feathered for it, really kind of got out of the tribe here.
But we have a couple of aces in our decks. We have, a walker.
That's at least one.
I have a hammer.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be necessarily. It is a hammer. It's a very nice hammer. Not sure if they'll be scared of that particular hammer though.
Is what I'm saying. It's really, really good.
I don't doubt it.
And so the party, along with the chief of the Black Wolves, Chief Marta, and some of her honor guard, effectively, are headed off to Greystone to attempt negotiations once again. And hopefully this time it will go less badly.
Especially since we're going to be there this time.
Right. So. Right. Brain no worky for a second. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even remember any of that session when we started this up. I was like, okay, last time we went into a crypt and the thing escaped and we killed a necromancer. I was like, oh wait, no, there was a whole adventure after that.
Yes, there was. So,
notes? What are those? I don't have notes. What are you talking about?
You guys set out back through the forest. And it's, about a day's travel roughly to Greystone. If I remember correctly.
Right.
That sounds about right.
If my notes are not lying to me, which they shouldn't be, I didn't say, last time that it was like a week's travel from the woods or anything like that.
Right.
My notes say it was about a day.
After scribbling your notes down, you're just going, ha ha ha, future Peter's gonna look so stupid.
I wouldn't rule that out, honestly. Alright. So, you guys are traveling through the woods with Chief Marta. I don't believe that I said that Ironbow, her younger brother and leader of the raiding forces, was going with you. Because they need to leave somebody back in charge. Also, he's a little bit of a hothead.
Just a little bit?
A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, I went to get a few drinks in him.
Well, thankfully I'm an ice mage.
But yeah, he's staying behind. But yeah, Marta basically figured that, sending someone, the chief going would at least lend some weight to the discussions.
Indeed. Come in.
Oh. What was that knocking, seriously?
Yeah, really.
That's a good
That's,
question.
that's probably stuff on my end. I have people in the kitchen on the other side of the wall of me.
Understandable.
So
That's not a big
can't
deal.
do anything about that.
Not a big deal. So, let's see. So you are traveling through the woods. Fortunately, this time you have people who are very familiar with the woods, so you don't need to have any sort of navigation rules or anything silly like that to get through them without, problem. Also, you're a large enough group right now that any wild animals will be avoiding you like the plague unless they are insane or rabid.
Or really
rabid
freaking
wolves.
big.
Okay, yes. Yes, maybe a dire bear might try to fuck with
A
you.
wolf comes barreling out through the wall.
It just jumps. It's like, I found you! You look different, but I know it's you!
Exactly.
At any rate, so you're traveling along. Marta is engaged with in small talk with Walker Gex. They're currently conversing in the sort of strange variant on Westron that the Black Wolves speak. So you guys understand about, you might get the sort of gist of the conversation, but you're not getting the full details at the moment.
So basically, it's like hanging out with two guys from Edinburgh.
Kinda. I guess.
I don't think I'll ever get tired of Eric and Mecha's just kind of Bostonian in-jokes.
That's not very
It's
This
almost like
is
it's a
it
boss.
that only we're going to understand.
You ever try to have a conversation with one of those guys? Their accents are really thick and they use a lot of local nomenclature.
Edinburgh has nothing to do with the Boston area. That's,
That's
Scotland.
It's Bostonian enough because only you two understand what's going on.
I thought it was that.
I'm on the West Coast, shut up.
The distance between two cities in your state is the difference between two states on the East Coast. So
this is true.
And we were talking about an entirely different country.
yeah, I suppose it was some sort of English thing. So
Isn't that Edinburgh?
That's Edinburgh. That's how it's pronounced.
Oh,
It looks
I've been
like
mispronouncing it. Now I understand.
everyone mispronounces half the cities in England, in America at least.
Unless you're from New England.
Gloucester.
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 because you see,
Anyway.
English is a very lazy language.
Anyway.
Yes. So, as I said, they're mostly the gist of the conversation seems to be mostly talking about. Gex basically has been asking her about sort of the relations with between the Black Wolves and some of the other major tribes, sort of tribes in the general area. Because he's gotten a feel for the relations between the Black Wolves and Greystone now. Sort of what he went over there to do. But he's starting to get more information about what's going on elsewhere in regards to the Black Wolves, because he's got someone he can talk to about it here. You get the impression that it's I'm trying to think how to. Actually, if you guys are interested in trying to get a feel for what's going on, since you don't understand all the words being used, I would guess that'd probably be an insight check. Try to read
Sure.
between
Which
the words.
we're gonna be on the title screen. Yeah.
Right,
I'll
because speaking
try.
language is no longer a skill.
Right.
Yeah. I'll try. I don't.
Ah, I got an 11.
I got a 3.
Yeah, you have no
I
idea
got
if
a
it
rock.
is.
Yeah.
I'm a wizard, I don't care.
That's the same roll.
Your insight and perception are the same.
Aha!
Well, all right. Hana gets most of it.
Hana's
Kath-
like nodding her head understandingly, and everyone else is just like, what the
You know-
fuck?
It makes sense because she's like immersed in many different cultures by part of her job.
Well, X job.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Job enough.
Anyways, so yeah, Hana, Catherine, it sounds what you're hearing is same old, basically. Hana, it is same old, but that means a fair bit of raiding and skirmish battles and general squabbling.
So general affairs, essentially.
Yeah, they don't like the various tribes don't they never come to major blows, but there's a lot of sort of squabbling and minor and skirmish battles between them to basically, unsurprisingly, given what you've heard from what Marta sort of talked about their sort of approach towards things, it makes a lot of sense. They often use sort of minor skirmish battles and such to sort of settle differences and things of dispute.
Whoa.
Sorry.
What the hell?
There's a lot of threes.
Something weird with one of my keys and trying to get it off. I hit 3 and enter.
Okay.
Anyway.
So it definitely sounds it fits in with what Marta was talking. It sort of fits in with what you heard Marta talking about, the way they handle conflict as a general rule of thumb.
Right.
Either challenges between individual warriors or at least small groups or what have you, to limit the sort of the scope of conflict between and to sort of settle honor between them in the way that their tribes are used that their tribes used to. So that's sort of the impression you get. You're fairly.
Well, hopefully they won't suggest the same thing.
At any rate, that's what the two of them are talking about. Her two bodyguards that came, they sent some other tribe members with them, including two of her two bodyguards, who are doing their usual bodyguard, walking along very stoically silent and keeping an eye on things. These guys are pros.
All right.
At any rate, nothing really particularly of note happens before you leave the woods and get to the road to town. Unless there's something you guys want to do before that happens. Just want to give you guys the option.
I can think of nothing.
Yeah, nothing particular for me.
Not a lot to do in the woods.
For
Pick
dwarf,
flowers.
anyway.
Suppose we could pick flowers.
I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to get out of here. This civilizationless hovel.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyways, you get out of the woods and you're on the road, and you get to the. It actually is less than a day, but obviously you arrive at the sort of the gates to Greystone at about evening, like around about dinner time roughly. You take a break during there to eat lunch while in the woods. And you arrive at the gate, and as you're sort of coming up, you notice that there's a lot of activity around the. Greystone is a walled city, walled town. It's a small city, effectively. So there's a lot of activity at the gates. You get the impression they probably saw your group approaching and recognized the fact that, oh lordy, there's some black wolves there and some others. This bears caution at a minimum. So when you actually get to the gates, there is a group of the city watch, sort of city militia, really, standing outside the gates as you approach. They all have sort of their weapons at the ready and such. And if you guys glance back at Marta's bodyguards, they have, at some point, without you guys hearing or noticing it, gotten their weapons at the ready also. Marta has left her axe slung over her back.
Yep. Vindeus will probably speak up and say to the guard, sort of, so, is something the problem, sirs? Something the matter, sirs?
Well, a group of barbarians are approaching our city, and a tribe of barbarians with whom we have been in conflict with recently are approaching our city. Now, this is sort of the guy who's very clearly the leader of the watch, sort of speaking up and saying this. He sort of says, so we're a little concerned since we're in conflict with them and they're approaching. However, you seem to be a mixed group of sorts. So what's going on here?
Well, we are accompanying these.
Yeah, you do hear a very sort of at the when he does mention when he calls them barbarians, you do hear sort of a low growl. You know,
Yeah.
very very quiet
We
sort
are-
of emanating from Marta. She doesn't seem too happy with that terminology.
We are
being
accompanying
used.
these, Vidius said, we're accompanying these Desinins of the Woods in an effort to foster peaceful negotiation and communication between their people and your city. It appears that the conflict has been born out of, at the very least, a misunderstanding or at least a misinterpretation of intentions. And I believe with our efforts and the effort of our efforts of Walker Gex here, we can reach some sort of agreement that does not require any continuation of this conflict.
At which point, sort of Gex sort of walks forward, his staff making little chiming noises, the way Walker's staffs do. He walks forward, smiling, grinning a broad grin, broad and rather toothy grin. Takes a bow with a remarkably impressive flourish for someone of his height.
He only had about 2 feet in order to wave his arms those 50 times.
Yeah. And he says, I am, of course. Oh God, what was the? I am Gex the Resplendent, humble servant of the traveler at your service.
Resplendent indeed.
And I do believe that there has been something of a, as my good friend here, Vindeus Rokanen, has mentioned, something of a failure to communicate between representatives of the two groups. So,
What would yeah.
I think everyone's brains went straight to that film.
Yeah.
you all
That's okay,
also
though.
you all also do hear when he says that Marta sort of saying under her breath, "That's an understatement."
I can't blame you there. Tarred feather's
Vin-
pretty bad.
Vindeus will kind of lean and whisper back towards Marta, like, we're trying to make this seem as, well, neutral as possible. Yes.
She's keeping her face very, her expression very neutral at the moment. She's been doing a very good job of that.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
I am not. I'm actually rather annoyed with these villagers.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Anyway.
so the leader of the watch says, "Well," he sort of pauses, looks up, and says, he sort of points at Marta and says, "You're the chief of the Black Wolves, aren't you?" She arches an eyebrow and says, "Yes. Why are you pointing at me?"
Aye, that's rude.
The head of the watch says, "How else am I going to indicate who I'm talking about?" Never mind. Well, that explains why those two large burly fellows with the very, very, very large axes have them out. They're your bodyguards, aren't they? Right. Well, that actually is completely understandable. This is a mess. All right. Well, you all have, since Brother Gex is here Walker Gex is here to speak, and you guys seem to be approaching with at least good intentions. Welcome to Greystone. I would appreciate it if your bodyguards would sheathe their weapons. And he sort of gestures sort of a put your weapons down gesture to his men. Most of them sort of grudgingly sort of put them away, but they do so at his gesture. One or two seem slower on the
Whoa, what is that?
some sort of appliance. Don't worry about it. Anyways, so he gestures. eventually they sort of put their weapons down or away and what have you. The guys up on the wall, up on the sort of wall above the gates, lower their bows and put the arrows back in their quivers and such. Marta looks up at them and nods to her two bodyguards, who shrug and sling their axes back over their backs. He says, "Very well. If you'll come this way." He turns to one of the people and he says, "Alan, you, yes. Run to the Burgermeister and tell him that Chief Marta of the Black Wolves is here to discuss the situation in good faith, and that it will be mediated by Walker Gex and his companions." The guy he gestures, the guard he gestures to is a fairly young looking man. You're guessing a fairly recent recruit.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of nods and goes sprinting off. And he sort of says, "Well, if you'll follow me, I'll take you to where would be the best place to? We need somewhere with a big table. Probably not the inn." Or the
I was gonna say tavern is the first thing that leapt to my mind.
Jorv is like, yes, that's a great idea. Yes.
There must be some location where the Burgermeister engages in negotiations normally, or at least holds meetings with trusted consultants.
The word Burgermeister is very unfortunate with my 6-year-old brain.
Anyway.
I'm just thinking, clearly we should go to the burger joint to discuss things.
Well, yes, Town Hall's probably the best bet. Come with me, please.
Yes, of course.
And he leads you on. You and your group follow along. You do hear some of the city watch falling in behind you. That seems to be actually, at a guess, probably fairly prudent. Because there are a lot of these sort of villagers and all, sort of poking their heads out and ogling, and there are one or two who seem like there are a bunch of them who seem like they're spoiling for a fight, but when they see the fact that the watch is escorting them, also that they're clearly people, they're clearly non-members of the Black Wolves who are there, who are traveling with them. They basically like, "Ooh, we should get. That's too many armed people, and the city watch is there anyways. Yeah, we'll just sort of. Oh, look, what staff?
I got something else to do.
What rock? I had no rock in my hands. Yes. I was just showing my good friend Bjorn here my this lovely knife that I've recently purchased. Isn't it wonderful? It's great for cooking. Totally, yes, totally great for cooking with.
You wouldn't deprive an old man of his walking stick.
Things like that, yes.
Well, I should probably use this pitchfork I grabbed to shovel my driveway.
You're getting the idea. They're all like, "Yeah, I've got perfectly good reasons to have this thing that could be used like a weapon in my hands." Yes, this rock.
Chocolate cake.
And you are escorted to Town Hall. But yeah, there are a lot of the various town folk who are all watching, and most of them seem fairly nervous at best.
I'm going to say that Aramia is going to hover relatively close to, oh damn it, what's her name?
Marta?
The chieftain.
Marta.
Yes.
Okay. And you are escorted inside Town Hall, and are taken to a meeting room where there's a big table and lots of chairs. And he says, all of you may take seats at this end of the table here. The Burgermeister will sit up here at this end, because that's his chair. Marta looks at the table, thinks for a minute, purses her lips, and gestures to the seat at the end of the table where you guys are sitting for. She basically says, "Brother Walker Gex, if you like this seat, you should have that one."
Mm-hmm.
Gex sort of looks for a second, looks up at her and says, No, Chief Marta, please. Chief Marta, please. You sit here. I should sit more towards the middle of the table. Since I'm negotiating. I'm acting as a middleman, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
She arches an eyebrow, shrugs, and sits down. The rest of her, one of the people who came with her was one of her advisors, sits at her right. The rest of her two bodyguards sort of take up positions, sort of bodyguardy positions, standing up, keeping an eye on things. They obviously do not take seats because, well, duh. Neither do the rest of the tribesmen who came with her. They're all they're standing around trying to act like bodyguards, although they're not nearly as good at it as the two actual ones. The rest of the seats are therefore open to you guys. You can sit where you like. Gex pulls up sort of sits in a chair towards the middle of the table, where he can be sort of centrally located between the Burgermeister and Chief Marta.
I will prefer to stand, but I will stand relatively near the middle.
And you guys can sit where you like if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll be more or less sitting next to Gex.
Understandable.
I will sit on the other side of Marta.
I'm sitting nearish to
I'm
Marta,
sitting
basically
toward
like
that.
next to her bodyguards.
I'm making it clear exactly whose side I'm taking.
Aha! Okay.
I'm going to take a more neutral position.
All right. Cool.
I'm taking I'm trying to take a very third-party position here.
All right. Interesting. About 10 minutes later, the doors at the other end of the room open, and in walk a couple of what are very clearly soldiers. Not even like militia, but like they look like professional soldiers. Their
Like
armor
mercs.
is actually no. They don't really smell like mercenaries. Their armor is too unified.
Okay.
Their armor is sort of too similar to each other's. It's very clearly it's sort of like issued. You're guessing it might be like a small cadre of sort of city guards who actually
Okay.
they're both wearing sort of solid breastplates with chain shirts underneath. Simple but very very effective looking helmets. Bracers, greaves. They've got long swords at each of their hips. They also at their they've got long swords sort of on their left hips, but on their right hip they seem to have a very heavy but very well made and well cared for truncheon also. And they've got shields slung over their backs. They walk in first, sort of scan the room, and then take places on either side of the doors. And after them, in walk a couple of what look like sort of well, the first couple people walk in. One of them has a very clear he's sort of an older human, squinting over a pair of half-rim spectacles, a bit stooped over, going bald. Has a very sort of merchanty air about him, almost, maybe even bankery.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in, sort of looks around nervously, but takes a seat to the left of the head of the table. The one who follows him in is a younger man, very neatly trimmed mustache and beard, dark hair worn back in a ponytail, wearing very nice clothing actually, very well tailored. He's got a very sort of noble air about him. Got a rapier at one hip. And he walks in confidently and sits down on the chair to the right of the head of the table. And following him is a short, somewhat pudgy, florid little man with short hair, wearing very expensive-looking clothing with sort of rings all over rings on each of his fingers, and a heavy gold chain around his neck. His hair is going. He's got sort of thinning gray hair, and he sort of has that look of sort of a short, pudgy, sort of ineffectual type, except for the very clear gleam of intelligence in his eyes.
Flavor Flav?
Not even a little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't know that Flavor Flav was
it's the
pudgy.
chain that did it.
Anyway,
he sort of walks in. He looks around a bit apprehensively, but nods. Walks up to the chair, to the chair at the head of the table. Stops. Hang on a second. I gotta find this guy's name.
Stops, ponders his identity a moment.
You've got time. I've been cleaning my part of my keyboard during this.
Alright.
Because I dropped something on some of the keys, so I just thought let's clean a bunch of it.
Wrong thing. There we go. He walks over and says, you must be Chief Marta of the Black Wolves, and you must be Brother Walker Gex of the Walkers. I am Aram Turnus. I am the Burgermeister of Greystone. I welcome you to this my office and my negotiating table. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. And with that, he sort of he bows first to Marta, then he bows to Gex, and he nods to the rest of you. Marta stands up and sort of says, I am Marta, daughter of, oh crap, what was his name? Yes, I'm Marta, daughter of Egrim, chief of the Black Wolves. I appreciate your inviting me to this table. Alrem raises an eyebrow, sort of smiles and nods, and he takes a seat. Marta sits after he does. And he turns to Brother Gex and says, "It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance, Brother Gex. Walker Gex." He doesn't refer to him, Gex. Yeah, so and Gex sort of nods and says, yes. Well, and I appreciate that. Alramster says, and the rest of your compatriots, the people who are with you, Gex, are they part of your retinue or anything like that? And Gex says, no, they are travelers who came and helped me out of a bit of a pinch and have become interested in the situation between your town and the Black Wolves, and I invited them along to lend their voices to discussions as sort of outsiders to the situation. And the Burgermeister nods and says, "Interesting."
We are also. I'm imagining we're also kind of here to to make sure that this is a peaceful discussion.
Yeah, probably, but that's not what Gex doesn't actually say that outright.
Yeah.
I was about to, but I'm thinking better of it now.
The Burgermeister says, "Well, so, how can I help you, I guess? How can we... how should we start this?"
Vendeas raises a hand as if to ask for permission to propose something.
Gex looks over you and says, if I may, I would like to recognize Vindeus Planet here. He would like to say something, I believe. Both Marta nods immediately, and the Burgermeister sort of raises an eyebrow, shrugs, and says, "Very well."
I believe the proper approach to this would be for both parties to state clearly what they feel their concern is about the situation at hand, and clearly lay out their feelings regarding the matter in a calm manner, so that we can all understand what everyone's position is before we begin any sort of actual negotiation.
All right, you should give me a diplomacy at the end of this. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. And he'll let me got to tab out of Windows so I can go into my Mac side and actually roll the dice. There we go.
A solid roll. Excellent.
Yes. It's almost like he's a bard.
What? No.
Charismatic. He'll then actually propose that Marta begin explaining her situation to begin.
The Burgermeister sort of raised an eyebrow, shrugs, and said, "I'm amenable to that, I suppose."
You'll get.
Marta
we'll all have our turns.
Marta nods and says, "Very well." You can tell she's resisted the temptation to. She is forcing her. Actually, I'm not. Yeah, you don't need to roll for this. She's very clearly restraining the impulse to stand up and start declaring things. And sort of making loud declarations. She's forcing herself to sort of abide by sort of common diplomatic standards. And, you know. Well, as you are no doubt aware, Burgermeister, about a year ago, some of your farmers started. I'm not sure if you're entirely aware of this part, but some of your farmers started encroaching with their farms and their sort of, you know, some of their hunting and such into our lands, which is fine. We don't. It's that is somewhat understandable. We don't have clearly, you know, there's no wall delineating where our lands, where the lands we claim start, you know, and end, you know, but at that point, but it was clearly sort of moving into our what we consider our territory. So we sent a diplomat to come. We sent a representative of our tribe to come and try to negotiate a settlement situation. And upon arrival in your town, they were harassed, had stones thrown at them, and were eventually cornered, captured, covered in tar and feathers, and run out of town. That was an indication to us that your people were not interested in a honorable and fair resolution to the situation. So we decided to we engaged in retaliatory action as a means to try to draw your people out into something resembling a honorable battle to determine the resolution to the situation. The Burgermeister sort of raised an eyebrow and says, a diplomatic solution. You sent someone who was very clearly you sent a fairly fairly loud-mouthed and angry young man, armed to the teeth, who came to town demanding satisfaction, I believe, as he put it, to the egregious violation of your territory. This is all reports from what I've heard from my watch. I did not see this young man personally, understand, and started challenging people to fights. Naturally, the citizens of the town were concerned by this, and they did not act as in the best and most civilized of fashions, but they were understandably worried. You hear Marta sort of snort at that.
Vindace will then ask a question to Marta. Who was it specifically that you sent to engage in negotiations?
Specifically, one of our... I sent one of our... I sent... oh god, what was his name? You should not send Ironbow, because that would have been idiotic.
I thought it was a lady. I thought you said it was a lady when we went over this last time.
I might have. I don't have my notes on who it was. So yes, it could have been a young woman. It's actually, I think you might be right, Word. But the Burgermeister probably wouldn't necessarily know because again, he did not see who it was. So
right.
So
To me, it just sounds.
I'm actually going to kind of murmur, but loud enough to be heard.
Yeah, what are you murmuring?
Just she.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Marta at that smirks at that and sort of nods, and the Burgermeister says, "If it was a young woman, then I apologize. My information was wrong on that part."
I'm gonna murmur something about sounding like your average Tuesday in a dwarf town.
So, all right.
Marta sort of says, "Well, I sent one of our champions, whose job it is to come into to resolve a conflict in a straightforward and honorable fashion." It sounds, if your information is true, she was perhaps a bit more vocal than would be ideal. However, I do not see why, given that she was alone, an individual, I do not see why your town felt that they must stoop to such egregious levels of mob mentality.
Well, let's see here.
And the Burgermeister says, "Well, I don't see why she would start challenging people to fights over this sort of thing instead of trying to negotiate."
You dunked her in hard and dumped feathers on her. That ain't right.
Hey, please, no outbursts. Let them talk.
There is no reason to resort to you started it, no you did sort of argument.
Yes, indeed.
Nick, not way you should treat anyone.
Nick, if you would like to give me a diplomacy check for that, you may. Yeah. So you say that, and both the Burgermeister and Marta sort of pause, look at you, nod, and they actually proceed to apologize to one another over that. Marta sort of says something in her own language, in her own tongue, and says, "I do apologize." She says a phrase, which sort of the gist of it is, sort of, "I apologize for, it's sort of, I am at fault here," and says, "I apologize that I spoke a bit hastily." The Burgermeister says, "No, that's we were both heated, and."
Rami is actually going to speak up at this moment.
Okay.
It is worth pointing out that the tribal folks of the forest do tend to send champions to one another to resolve smaller conflicts and such. I imagine the intent that the emissary sent was along those lines and misinterpreted.
Aha. All right. Yes, you should get you. That is a logical and straightforward statement.
I'm not really trying to convince anyone of anything.
I know you're not. So I'm probably not going to ask you to make a roll. Honestly.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Well,
you're not trying to convince anyone, so that's fine. Does anyone else want to chime in anything at this point?
Yeah, Videos was just sort of kind of reinforce what what was Oramia said, and added, yeah, as I stated earlier, it appears that effectively what we have was a miscommunication or misinterpretation of the intent of the emissary that was sent, which resulted in rash actions taken by the villagers or the village or the community as a whole, which then messaged an unintentional act of aggression towards the tribe.
The Burgermeister
So one thing.
So yeah, you should give me a diplomacy check also, Sketch. Another one.
Yeah.
Peter.
Yes.
Oh.
Ah, damn you!
Okay. Would there be, if I rolled history, would I be able to think of anything that this town did, know of anything of this town's actions that were similarly rash feeling?
In what way? What
As
do you
if
mean?
they have a
Like,
if they have a history of being rash about things, or
like just a recent event in the town's history that would be that I'd be able to mention and you use to just point out that the similarities between this situation and a previous one.
Oh, you can give me a history roll if you'd like. 24. Nothing really of note in in recent history. They really haven't, you know. They're not really known for having much in the way of conflict. I mean, the most of the conflict they've dealt with have been by, you know, that they've had have been, you know, dealing with bandits and the like, which is why they have, you know, an armed city town watch. But, you know, they've never really dealt with sort of anything that's, you know, more hostile than that, or, you know, anything like that. But yeah, the Burgermeister sort of says, well, so you mean to say that your champion, as you put it, came here to negotiate a settlement by combat? And Marta says, a test of arms, yes, that is traditional amongst our people. The Burgermeister says, ah, I see. Well, that is not our usual custom. This meeting we're having right now is much more akin to how we normally handle things. And I suppose... I confess that even, you know, as if things happen as you described it, at least hearing from your people, it would not explain why my people acted so. I agree that they definitively seem to have overreacted. If they did, in fact, you know, stone your representative and tar and feather her and run her out of town, that seems excessive.
If I may ask, Burgermeister,
And out of
do you
character.
know who was what?
Seems out of character for my people. I mean, that just seems odd.
Who would have been responsible for the report sent to you, or responsible perhaps for the decision making as to handle this particular individual at the time?
Oh, well,
Does
that
the
would have been
report
the
say who it was?
No, well, the person in charge of that would clearly be the captain of the watch, Mikhail. He turns back to one of his bodyguards. As he starts turning back, the younger man at his left sort of says, "I'll go find the captain."
Someone's in trouble.
Busted.
The Burgermeister says, "Thank you, Alan." He sort of nods and sort of walks off, and the Burgermeister says, "Alan's a good boy. He always anticipates my needs." At any rate, you hear a chuckling from the older man on his other side. It's not what you said about your son last week. The Burgermeister sort of rolls his eyes and sort of says, Well, all right. He is somewhat impetuous. I agree, but he's done a fairly good job in his current role. You have to admit. The older gentleman sort of says, "Well,
I just didn't know you could do that with a curling iron."
Well, before we move forward in dealing with resolving the obviously egregious offense, while we're waiting for the captain of the watch to arrive, so we can discuss this further with him, I would like to bring up a point about the nature of the initial problem. In that apparently you say our farmers were intruding upon your lands. I'm not questioning the fact that they are lands you lay claim to, and but roughly where are they, so I might know. Marta sort of nods, and she turns to the tribesman who sat down next to her, and he reaches into. He actually has a small satchel that he brought with him. It's made of hide. Reaches in, pulls out a map that's been made on parchment, and sort of rolls it out on the table, and takes a couple stones out and sets them on the corners. And it's a hand drawn map, and he sort of gestures in this area, sir. The older gentleman gets up, walks down, peers over through his glasses at the map, and says, "Aha, I see. Yes. So this area here. Oh, I see. Interesting. My lord, the nature of their grievance would seem to be accurate. I do know for a fact that some of our farmers asked for permission to expand their farmlands into the woods on the other side of the road in this area. Clearly, we were unaware of that the Black Wolves laid claim to that territory. Otherwise, I would not have authorized it. I would have either suggested they find somewhere else to expand, or found some way to try to, I don't know, negotiate usage of the lands with your people. I'm personally in favor of avoiding conflict in this sort of situation, if a more amenable arrangement can be reached. You all notice that some of Marta's people sort of roll their eyes at that. Marta sort of smirks a little bit. And,
is it common that the captain of the watch gives permission to build of property and building?
This is not the captain of the watch.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not here yet.
No, this is this is the guy who's sort of in charge of the town. He's not the burgomaster, but he's sort of the
old guy.
It's the older guy, yes.
He's kind of the city architect.
I got distracted by a program breaking.
So Vindace will nod slightly. Well, in that case, unfortunately, the farms have already been expanded, so we have a situation now
which will have to be resolved. But that is one of the reasons I wish to bring this. I wish to ask about this. Assuming we can find some resolution to the other part of this conflict, Chief Marta, how would you? What sort of? I would be loath to ask the farmers to leave the lands they've already been working, just because it has brought some fair amount of prosperity to our town. So what sort of recompense would you find acceptable for that, given that we clearly have moved past a point of negotiating a fair sort of... if it's possible to avoid having to, ask the farmers to abandon the lands they're working on already, what can we do to make the situation better, I suppose? Marta sort of sits back. Well, I don't know. Honestly, this is not sort of the sort of thing we deal with. I mean, my suggestion would have been to hold a simple, I don't know, some sort of contest of arms between a champion of your choosing and a champion of our choosing. The winner gets access to land, but you seem that I understand where you're coming from and not asking one of the farmers to leave land they've been working for a year, even if they've been harassed by my raiders.
Question out of character. Wasn't it? Didn't you say before that this town and the Black Wolves had trade going before this incident?
A little bit, but not really. The Black Wolves don't do a lot of trading per se, so.
I was just thinking maybe the town could, like, we could suggest that the town provide them some supplies for like a year or something.
Word, you could give me I don't know, maybe either a history, I guess a history check.
Okay, I gotta look at my character sheet because it's been way too dang long. Okay. Uh, 22.
All right. Well, it occurs to you that the way that the town would probably handle, like, you know, a possible solution to this could be that effectively, the farmers could effectively rent the land from the Black Wolves. So it would still be the Black Wolves' land, but the farmers would pay rent in some sort of, like, some of the crops or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But however you want to suggest that is up to you. But
I'm pretty much going to suggest it just like that, and on account of the fact that my diplomacy score is awful, I am going to lace that with suggestion.
okay.
So basically, I make a diplomacy check using my arcane
Right.
score.
What is a great spell.
22 again.
All right. Honestly, you don't need to roll very high for that to convince either the Burgermeister or his chief advisor of that as an amenable solution. That is, in fact, an ideal solution as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
That's like a DC 5 or 10 check to convince them. Marta, she says, rent. So it's not a concept we're familiar with. So the land would still be ours, but their people would be working it. And in exchange, they'd give us some of their crops.
You could imagine it as tribute.
Effectively,
Hana looks like I should point out I'm sorry, Sketch. Hana looks like she's uncomfortably wriggling in her seat.
Okay.
To elaborate, it's a common concept in cities for entity, perhaps other than a person working on a piece of land, to own it, and in exchange for being allowed to work on the land, the worker provides compensation back to the owner of the land, both as a sign of respect, but also to allow the owner of the land to still benefit from someone else using it for a purpose. So it could be the case that the farmers perhaps allocate a portion of their crops for you and your tribes. It would provide a reliable portion of food that would be practically guaranteed on an annual basis, and it also recognizes your sovereignty at the same time.
Marta sort of sighs. She leans back in her chair, sort of looks up at the ceiling, closes her eyes again, pinches the bridge of her nose. It is... it would definitely... It's not something that would fall under the purview of our tribe's customs, shall we say. But I do see that I do see how that could be considered a fair method of dealing with the situation as it stands. I will accept that as a tentative solution for now. We will negotiate the actual...
Whoa!
Yeah.
Negotiate the actual details of that later, assuming we can find an amenable solution to the other problem. I'm willing to accept that as a possible solution. assuming that we feel that we are able to, assuming that we feel that it is reasonable to, negotiate with you. She definitely has an air of that she's still not exactly happy about what actually happened to her, her champion, shall we say?
Of course, of course. That is. Hopefully, the captain of the guard will be here soon to discuss that.
Yes.
Alan sure has been gone a long time.
As a matter of fact, he has been gone a fairly long while. And as you're sort of thinking that, the doors open again, and Alan comes flying back in, leans in, and whispers something to his father, the Burgermeister.
Chump town.
Burgermeister sort of listens, looks up, and says, "What?" No, he
At this
says.
Point, I get up. Where'd he go?
The Burgermeister sort of says, "Well, we have a situation."
We might be experts in resolving these.
Well, maybe you are. Maybe you're. He turns to Gex. Maybe your compatriots might be of use and be of help here. I offer my deepest apologies for the situation currently, Chief Marta. The person to be able to answer the questions, the captain of the watch, Alan. Why don't you tell him? Alan nods and says, "Well, I went looking for him in his office, the chief of the watch, and he was not present, which is unusual for this time of day. He usually works fairly late. So I, asked around. It sounded like he'd gone home. I went to his home, knocked, found no response, and noticed that there was something that I sort of glanced in through the window and noticed that it was I noticed that the lights were on. There was a fire going in his fireplace, and he had a lamp lit. So and I found that the door was open, and I found him seated at his desk, slumped over with his throat slit. So, someone has murdered the captain of our watch, and he can't answer your questions, unfortunately.
Out of one of the Vendeus glances around. Is everyone that came with Marta and us, from Marta's side of things, with us or no? Or like is Ironbow's his name?
Oh, Ironbow didn't come with you. He stayed behind.
Basically, is the head count accurate for Marta?
I know, that's the question you're asking. And the answer to that is it appears to be yes.
Okay, so just let's take a glance around. Second,
We should hurry to the scene.
Yes, we should.
So Gexter says, "Well, would you five be willing to look into this?"
It seems far too convenient for this to have occurred at this time.
I would agree. Marta grunts and says, "Yes, I would." I find the choice of them as to be investigating as perfectly amenable. They have shown my people great respect, and I would deem them trustworthy in this matter. The Burgermeister sort of says, "Well, if Gex vouches for them, then I have no objections myself. This will probably take a little bit of time, I'm suspecting. Chief Marta, tensions are high here in town with your being here, and that is not your fault. That is, it is what it is. I apologize for the, I guess, provincial nature of my people to a certain degree. However, it would be best if you don't go wandering about town. It might cause tempers to flare, and I would prefer not to have any further incidents occur." Marta sort of nods and says that would seem wise. So in that case, would you? This building, in addition to being where my offices are, is also my home. I would invite you and your people to stay here in the meantime. I will set up beds for you and such if need be. And if you and your people would care to join me and my family for dinner, we can discuss things perhaps not related to this situation at all. Maybe see if we can find some more common ground to move forward from, assuming we can resolve the situation further. Marta sort of looks at him. You're offering to share a meal with us in your home. Yes. She sort of raises eyebrows at that and says, maybe there is hope for relations going forward. Yeah, we accept. To which Gex says, I will stay with them here and make sure nothing goes particularly wrong. Why don't you five... Alan will show you to where the captain's home is and make sure that the watch is aware of that you're investigating this.
I do like Master Psychic's comment here. This is the one time a necromancer would be useful.
Yes. It is one of the situations where it would be very useful, wouldn't it?
When we do we have to walk by Marta?
That is the way that Alan is showing the way leading you guys. Yes.
When I walk by Marta, I'm gonna whisper in her ear, make sure the Burgermeister and his family eat first.
She snorts and chuckles a bit.
That's a very serious statement, because given that we've already had one person apparently assassinated, I do not want to come back and find multiple people here dead. Keep an eye on the food.
Oh, okay.
All right, so the five of you are...
The party probably wouldn't have heard that.
Probably not.
And the five of you
Unfortunately, I do not have the rituals that allow me to basically ask dead people questions.
Nope.
I do remember proving before that I do know true names related to the undead. We never went over what that particularly gave me the ability to do.
Not to raise the dead at the moment, no.
Okay. Not in any capacity that would be useful,
no.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So the five of you are, as Alan sort of leads you along, he seems very, he seems nervous. Which is somewhat understandable, I'd say.
This Alan character, about like, what does he look like?
As I said, he's about average height. Long dark hair held back in a ponytail, very neatly trimmed mustache and beard. You guess he's in his early 20s, wearing very nice clothing.
Okay.
You would not have guessed that he was the Burgermeister's son until if you look at him more closely, you can see sort of where the similarities are. It's mostly in the eyes and the sort of set of his mouth and such. Also, the Burgermeister probably looked a bit more like him when he was younger and thinner.
Not fat and covered in jewelry.
Yeah.
Yes.
While we're walking, I'm gonna just straight up ask him what his position is in the Burgermeister's.
Well, I am. I advise my father on matters of honestly of town security for the most part. You know, I oversee the militia, and I work alongside the chief of the watch over with him on legal issues in town. I'm in charge. My main job is to be in charge of the city militia and my father's bodyguards. I also sit in on a lot of his various meetings and such to learn more about his position, since I will probably inherit it eventually.
Speaking of position inheritance, who will be taking the position of the departed captain?
That's a very good question. We'd have to find a new... in theory, if we were just to go by chain of command, it would be... probably...
Jim Power.
No.
Commander, who was it? Crap. That's not him. That's not even the city.
Commander Maximus.
No.
If we're doing that, we might as well go with Jim Power. Fight forever until I get an NPC named Jim Power.
Yes, Commander Sand.
When we arrive, I would like you to bring Commander Stand to
Was it Sand or Stand?
Sand. But
Sand.
I would like you to bring Commander Sand to
Bring Mr. Sandman here.
yes.
And tell him to bring a drink.
Yep. Watch out for his uppercuts.
all right. Well, he sort of raised an eyebrow and says, "Sure, I suppose." He's probably somewhat busy with the watch at the moment, but I'll see if he's got a moment. Anyways, here is the captain's quarters. There are a few watchmen outside, and he basically, Alan proceeds to fill them in about the situation. They seem remarkably annoyed by the fact that outsiders are doing the investigating into this. You get a feeling that they're kind of pissed off that the captain's been killed, and they really want to be the ones to find out who did it and deal with them.
No.
Ah, that's just adorable.
Because they're not hiding it, so and they do seem somewhat suspicious, and yeah, they don't seem to like you guys very much right now. One of them starts arguing about it, but Alan says, "Look, the Walker vouched for them, and it's a way to, and their involvement is a way to avoid a potentially disastrous diplomatic incident with the Black Wolves. So it is what it is. You will deal with it. You will comply with their investigation. You understand." The two of them sort of, "Yes, my lord."
I have a feeling that Yoram would offer them a drink on the way in.
Anyway, the five of you are shown into the building. The two watchmen sort of, the one who seems less irritable sort of says, "If you need anything, we'll be right outside the door here, so we don't intrude on your investigations. If you need anything in particular, just shout. We'll try to help you in what ways we can."
All right, lads.
Oh, this is the.
So you are in the. It's a fairly small house. It's a basically it's a small single person home.
I thought you were going to say you were standing in front of a house. There was a mailbox out front.
Vindays will remark, "Well, it's been quite a while since I've had to investigate a murder."
I'm gonna go up to the body.
All right.
And
First thing.
Can I use a thievery check to see if like someone snuck up on him, or if it was someone?
Was there a struggle at all?
Actually, if you have thievery, check to see if the lock was jacked.
Yeah.
I'll do. I'll do that instead.
All right. Fine.
Oh, bull.
You have no idea.
I have training in thievery. Yeah. I have training in thievery, so
you can roll it too.
Yeah.
I watched.
Describe the crime scene. Is he like in the middle of the floor? Is he slumped in a chair?
He is sitting at a chair at his desk. At a desk. He is slumped forward over the desk. There is blood all over the desk. That seems to have basically, At a guess, it came out of the rather large gash in his throat. Someone apparently slit his throat, and there's blood all over the place.
Is there a window behind him?
I was actually going to ask, how is the desk and his seat oriented again towards the front door?
It is not facing the front door. If that's a good question. Let me do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if this is his office where he does paperwork, I don't think he'd want his back to his front door.
Well,
look what happened.
Well, not everyone expects to be murdered.
Well, even still, like,
you should always expect to be murdered.
Considering his position, an ounce of prevention.
Well, basically, it's a room. The desk faces the desk is sort of perpendicular to the door to the office.
Okay, so it's a side deal.
Yeah.
Is there a window behind the desk?
Behind the desk?
Or like where is there? How many windows are like behind him?
There is a window behind him. There was a window behind him. There's not. The desk faces a wall. As an aside, there is blood splatter on the wall.
Okay. And the blood splatter on the wall. Then.
Yeah, the wall that he was facing.
I'm gonna make.
Is the floor carpeted or hardwood?
It's a wooden floor. Yeah.
Is that window a glass window, an open shutter window? Basically, can it be opened, or is it just a glass pane window?
It is a glass pane window, which is, given that he's probably he's reasonably well off and important in town. Not surprising that he actually has an actual glass window.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Investigating the body. Question.
But yeah, Skitch, you don't find any evidence of the door being tampered with.
Right. His hands. One, is he wearing gloves? And two, is there blood on his hands?
He is not wearing gloves. It's clear that he had a quill in his right hand, which is also very clearly his dominant hand. You can tell by the calluses that would be in the position where he would be holding a sword.
Sure. But there's no blood in his hands at all?
Oh, no, there's blood in his hands, yes. It's very clear that they fell into it's very clear that his right hand was... The blood splayed onto his right hand because it was sort of in the path of where
Sure.
Where the blood came out from the knife from the slit throat, at a guess.
Right.
And his left hand seems to have had been on the desk. It wasn't in the pattern, but the path. But blood has, after he fell over, blood has sort of spread onto it.
Okay, at this point, I feel it is relevant if sneaking straight into his office would be very difficult without magical aid. I'm going to see if I can detect any kind of magical residue of any sort.
Okay.
Now I can't roll for shit.
What was he writing? Can we tell?
Well, not anymore.
Soaked in...
It's kind of covered in blood.
Right.
It's really, ooh, what was he writing? Never mind.
Right. Yep, he's dead.
But yeah, so word, yeah, you're not detecting. There is some evidence of magic in the place, but that's mostly his sword, which is sort of propped up against the wall. And a couple other minor trinkets here and there. There are a few things that glow magical, but it does there's no lingering aura of magic.
The sword.
Yeah, right.
Like he actually owned magic shit. Okay.
Right.
Yes, his sword. One of his sword, which is still there. The other thing you do note, poking around the body quickly, is that his coin purse is still there and seems to still be full.
Yeah, this wasn't a robbery.
Yeah, nothing seems to have been taken from the place.
When we're talking about his sword, is he actually wearing that on his hip, his back,
no,
or is it against the wall?
It's leaning against the wall.
Okay, I'm going to draw it out of its sheath just so I can examine it real quick.
Okay. It's not a particularly powerful magic sword. It's a long sword. At a cursory glance,
mostly I just wanted to check, is this the murder weapon?
No, there's no blood on the sword.
No.
Okay, putting it back. I don't care about it.
Clearly,
I care about it in the sense of it's a magic item, but now is not the time.
Right.
And I'm probably not going to be able to keep it anyway.
Let's see here. Thinking. Okay.
the murder weapon wasn't left behind at all, was it?
You can give me a perception check to see if you see it. You guys are the people who are doing the first actual investigation. Well, you can give me a perception check to see if you can find anything that might be it.
I'm going to negotiate with the blood
Hey,
to
I
tell
rolled
me
16.
what happened. No. Yeah, I'm just aiding around, not noticing anything because I'm not that perceptive-y.
All right, well, 16, Eric. You do not find a murder weapon.
Okay.
However, you do notice what looks like I think you should get to find some sort of evidence for it at 16.
I've actually been wondering, does it look like there was any particular struggle, or did they just, like, straight up, like, Batman him?
Someone would need to...
Is there anyone hiding in the rafters in, like, a Tom Cruise...
You would probably need a higher perception check to notice that.
I got a 23.
There's nobody hiding up in the rafters, no. Batman is not lurking in the rafters or anything like that.
No, Tom Cruise, he's short. He's easy. He'll not hide.
All right.
Okay.
In order to determine exactly sort of how much of a struggler probably was involved in the kill, I actually probably would need a heal check from somebody.
Oh, a heal check. I can do that. It's actually something I'm trained in.
I'm not.
A 14. At a guess sketch, it looks like he was probably unaware of his assailant, from behind. It looks like it was a very clean cut across his throat with something very sharp. And he was clearly, from looking at sort of the spray of blood on the wall across from him, it's pretty clear that he was sitting upright when he was sitting upright when it happened.
The other thing I'll ask for the heal check: how warm is he still?
At a guess, he's probably not been dead more than a few hours.
Few hours, okay.
At most, possibly less.
Right. So basically,
Isn't he the one who greeted us at the town gate?
No, he's not.
No.
Oh, I thought he did.
Nope.
There was a guard that greeted us.
There was the guy who's in charge of that group of watchmen.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Squad leader.
So basically, I'm going to infer that this murder happened prior to the meeting that we had even starting, and possibly prior to us even getting into town. Right?
It's possible, or it could have happened. Basically, it's hard to. Rigor has not set in.
Right.
So it can't have been too long ago. But you don't really have the forensic science technology to pin it down. It's like, at most, a couple hours ago, but, you know, because Rigor hasn't said it yet, but it can't, it could have happened during the meeting. It's possible. You're not sure.
Okay. Right.
Eric.
The temperature of his liver.
Right, yeah, no. Eric, though,
I'm going to assume that by your temperature exposition there, that the body is too cold for it to have been done by Alan when he went to find the guy?
That seems likely, yes.
Okay.
Alright, Eric. Your perception check was good enough to notice that you can sort of see what looks like you actually notice a few very small droplets of blood on the floor. Possibly, dripping, like, drops coming off of maybe the murder weapon. As moving away from the body.
Where do they go?
They head out the door of the office. And they curve briefly, and then basically stop. But you're at a guess. It looks like they were moving sort of towards roughly the front door.
And the door is locked when we got here.
When you got here, no, and it was not locked when Alan arrived either.
Got here.
It was not locked when Alan got here either. He found it was unlocked.
I got a 23, and I don't know. I might have checked. Did I notice anything beyond that?
On your perception check? That's a good point. That's actually a good question. Actually, you notice that there are very, very faint footprints on the floor. And they're wearing sort of, you're at a guess, they're probably from fairly soft-soled shoes of some sort. And the foot size seems to indicate someone probably human, just because of the type of feet, the shoes. But someone on the somewhat smaller side, you'd guess. Someone who's not like a particularly huge person. Below average height, basically, at a guess.
So pretty much none of the Black Wolves, definitely.
Oh, hell no. The wrong type. It's A, wrong type of shoes.
Yeah, and B, they're all huge.
All the ones you've met so far have been pretty big.
Yes.
Does the blood from the murder weapon, has it dripped outside at all?
No. It looked at a guess. Actually, looking at the footprints, it looks like whoever these footprints are from were leaving the office. They paused right where the last blood drop is, because you can tell it's really
realized what was going on, and it was like, okay, yeah,
right, and then kept moving. Then kept moving.
I figured it was worth asking about. Okay.
Okay, just so I have more of a concept of the layout of the building itself. So we got the front entrance, and then there's the office. What is, like, between the office?
All right, so
basically to the right or something?
Basically, the building in question, the house in question, basically is there's a big sort of open room with sort of a small, a small kitchen area, a large fireplace, which is. You notice that there's a large cast iron pot in the fire, sort of over the coals in the fire, over the fire there, sort of nestled in the coals. Probably the guy was making sort of dinner of some sort. It's been ruined at this point, probably, since it's sitting. The fire has since gone out. Alan said that when he arrived, it was still burning slightly, but it has since gone out because no one's been tending the fire because duh. There's that big room. There's another smaller room, which is sort of the bathing area, effectively. His bedroom and his office. Otherwise, it's sort of a big open room is most of the house.
Okay. Alright, so just as a checklist, we have the one big room and then two small side rooms, one of which is restroom, the other which is office.
And don't forget his bedroom.
Oh, okay. Bedroom. Okay, so three small off rooms. Yeah. So a fairly medium-sized place overall.
Yeah, nothing huge. It's clearly designed for one person.
And the blood trail ends in the big room.
Yes. And it looks like it was sort of moving towards out of the office. Looks like it was whoever's doing it was heading towards the front door.
Could one reasonably suspect, like taking like just a little bit of like a left or a right and ending up into, say, like the bathroom or the bedroom? Are those doors nowhere near where the blood spat?
Not really, no. And from what
Okay.
Hana said from the footprints she saw, that seems unlikely. It looks like they just headed straight to the front door from there.
Okay.
Hana, you rolled a 23, right?
Yeah.
All right. You do actually find one other thing. I assume you were looking at the body, right?
Yes.
All right. Are you trained in healing?
No.
Okay, then. There's something a little bit odd about there's a weird sort of slight discoloration that's very, very hard to notice around the wound on his neck.
I'm going to say the wound looks weirdly colored.
What? I didn't notice anything like that last time I looked at it.
I'm going to say,
can you
look,
point
see
out where
here,
it is?
look- I'm just going to say, look, see here. It's not quite this. It's not quite reddish. It's more of a whatever shade it is.
Could I make an Arcana check on the notion of alchemy to see if that seems familiar with any kinds of chemical reactions I'm familiar with?
Sure, and Skitch, you can make a heal check, another heal check also.
Mm-hmm.
Haha!
I will need a heal check from Skitch also, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's 15.
15's actually 50, between the two of you. It's very clearly a word. It's not alchemical in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
There is something real. There's definitely some. So Skitch. It honestly looks like the wound is almost at the very edges, and it's, if you sort of look more deeply inside, you also notice it's there. It looks like the wound is almost rotting, almost, which it shouldn't be at this time at all.
Right. Basically, something is the decay rate of the skin around the wound and inside the wound is unnaturally fast.
Right. So yeah, it's sort of turning very faintly black around the edges of the wound and such.
Now,
word. This
I'm
is
going to guess that my magic inclination leads me to think that this is necrotic in relation.
not so. Yes, necrotic. Yes, but more specifically, you would guess it's not any of sort of the common magics you are familiar with. Basically, there's something very weird about the magic of this, and it's very, very faint because it's sort of like traces left on the wound.
Can I make a religion check to see if that matches any kind of thing related to any of the nameless?
Sure.
I'll join in on that one.
23.
Yeah, potentially. The 20 plus that both of you rolled opens up a history check for both of you.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Didn't we let loose a dark entity fairly recently?
What? No,
Yeah.
no, you didn't. Not at all. But that actually is not tied to this directly. I'll say that. I'm not spoiling anything by saying that.
I didn't think it was.
Oh,
Okay.
Cathra rolled brilliantly. Yeah, Cathra, you actually do remember reading in a book at one point, a history book at one point, about an old order of assassins who worked for crap. Which one was it? Hang on a second.
the jerk,
The Destroyer.
the meanie pants.
Yes, I just got to remember which one of them is.
The most annoying of the nameless.
It's one of the nameless, basically.
The face stabber.
Yes, there was an order of assassins that were associated with Lady Discord.
Which is definitely unrelated to our current chase, because that is Lord Despair.
Right.
Right. So,
So then this Assassin's Hallmark was doing something kind of like this?
Yeah, they were known for using blades that, even if they failed to kill the target, would basically, the body would start aging and breaking down at the wrong rate too quickly and such. Even wounds, even non-lethal wounds, start festering and going bad far too quickly to treat properly.
Is my history roll high enough to tell me when the last time one of these assassinations was really recorded?
A long time ago. Nothing has been heard from them in at least a century.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I'm going to inform the party of what I know of this of wounds like this. With mention nothing like this has been seen in a century. I don't like that.
So why would they want to kill this guy then? Like,
I can give you
so
a really
in
quick
Discord and
reason.
all that, whoop-de-doo, but like, why?
Yeah, because
Why this
the murder
town?
Because it would cause discord between the town and the Black Wolves and cause a miniature skirmish to form, which would cause many casualties. It's discord.
Indeed.
And besides, if this person was simply the linchpin that would have resolved the main concern that Marta has, and now he's dead. And if the death was in such a way that would have implicated the Black Wolves, which honestly, if someone less keen would assume a Black Wolf would have killed him in revenge, what's to be left to be said? Now, granted, the only thing that would be worse is if there were other targets to be assassinated to make the whole conflict seem like it was enacted by one party or the other, and there was no chance to resolve it.
We should.
So,
we
who's
need
watching Gex?
Not simply
Gex is with the Burgermeister.
And the Burgermeister and Marta are all in the same location.
It seems odd to me that they would.
I don't think
The matter of killing indicates that they really, really wanted to make sure he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
The thought had occurred as well.
And it also doesn't at all look like the way that a Black Wolf would kill someone.
No.
They're relying on
super.
fear.
I would agree with Kathra here that the people in the community may not know enough about the Black Wolves to care as to whether or not it is characteristic of them.
We need to get back, and we need to warn the Burgermeister and the others of an assassin. And we also need to get back and possibly warn the Black Wolf tribe itself.
Mm-hmm.
They might have the member next on the list. And I have lost what accent I use for this character.
I believe it also means to imply that there might be a target for the assassin within the Black Wolves.
That's what I just said.
Yes.
Right.
So at about this time, as you guys are realizing this, the door opens and Alan walks in with a very harried-looking watchman. Alan says, "This is Commander Sand. Commander Sand." He introduces the rest of you. I believe they had some questions for you. He sort of says, "So you're looking into the death of my superior. Have you found anything yet?"
Some matters of interest.
Yes, but we can wait till we discuss those particular points, I suppose.
Very well. I'm told you have questions for me.
I can see what the Burgermeister means about Alan being of a more predictive nature than one would expect. None of us explicitly made that request, though it was inquired who would succeed the good captain.
Hey, you're next in charge, right?
Technically, to be named to actually take his position, I would have to be. I would fill in for him in this situation until his successor was chosen by the Burgermeister and his council. Though I would probably be a favored choice. Are you implying that I would be? I would have been interested in. Are you implying that I'm a suspect in this foul deed?
No, I ain't implying nothing right now. What does imply mean? Thought we were inferring that.
It means to
No.
suggest.
The listener is the one that infers. The speaker is the one that implies.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
We're simply observing things from every angle we can.
Aha. personally, I think it's more likely that it's the barbarians who are behind this. It's an act of revenge.
And I'm going to say, and I'm going to try to sound sincere. And what makes you think that?
Well, they have a grievance with us, and he seems like a logical target to seek revenge in the way that, lawless barbarians like them would seek.
I'm just going to smile very patiently and I'm going to say, motive is only one aspect of assigning blame for something.
Mm-hmm.
After all, we just came up with a method that might implicate you, or a motive that might implicate you. That means that you should be the primary suspect. You questioned us when that suggestion was made, and yet you suspect the same of another with the exact same amount of evidence.
All right, you can give me a diplomacy check, Nick.
Oh, I rolled a 1.
Oh
Maybe
man,
I'm
I wish
being
I
as
could.
subtle as I want it to be.
Man, I wish I could have heard any of that instead of being.
If it might be possible for me to interject if he seems sort of offended by that.
He does. He starts sputtering, actually.
I'll interject it.
come on,
I will interject to separate his like, calm down. The point is simply that motive alone is not enough to implicate someone. Methodology is also an important question, and from what we know of the proposed suspect from you, this doesn't match what they would do at all.
All right.
Or how they would go about things.
I'm going to
They were
attempt
all off at the
this.
Burgermeisters when this was happening.
I'm going to attempt
No,
this.
what's it called? Opportunity.
Well,
I'm going to attempt
that's
a self-saving throw here
Okay.
by saying, and just think, if you were so offended by the suggestion, think how the Black Wolves would be if they heard the same thing.
Meanwhile, I'm going to walk past them both at this point and start heading towards the Burgermeisters.
Okay.
And with that, I'm actually going AFK because I need to do some things in the kitchen.
Okay. Okay, Skitch, he seems to have calmed... Skitch, your words and, Nick, your assistance there with what you said, do calm him down. But he still seems sort of, I guess, but it seems far more likely it's something that those barbarians would do. But, if the...
I mean...
Well, beyond the idle notion of that they want to wage war, which it is very clear that they do not, if one actually examines the crime scene here, it is absolutely as far from possibility as possible. The kind of weapon is not what they would use. The intruder's features would not at all match any of their number. It is simply not them. Period.
Why would you say how would you know that the murder's features wouldn't match them?
It was carried out by a small individual who used a very much non-weapon of their choice. You've seen the kinds of weapons they favor. Large. The kinds of things that could level trees in a single blow. This was with a small knife, carried out by a small individual who is very, very practiced at contract-type killing. Could you put that kind of description to any of their number? So what you're saying it was an assassin?
Correct. I will agree that hiring an assassin is very unlikely.
Indeed. Which, this brings up the question, of course, of who would have raised one, but that question might have to wait till later to be answered.
So why would he be killed then? Especially since the obvious implication would have been that the Black Wolves would have been behind it, and well, just the general assumption in town, I should say. I apologize for what
No. You can keep going because you might be onto something there. What would happen if an action was done that was made to implicate the Black Wolves in this community?
Why would anyone want to foster more further conflict between us and the Black Wolves?
What would the outcome be?
Well, further conflict. I mean, again, who benefits from that? I mean, the Black Wolves don't really. I mean, the Black Wolves would to a certain degree, but again, this is you are correct. The method does not match them, and they wouldn't want to implicate themselves necessarily. And it certainly doesn't benefit any of us.
So then the question becomes, who outside of both? Oh, what is it? Greystone? Is it?
Yeah, Greystone.
Yeah, outside of Greystone and the Black Wolves would be interested in creating some sort of conflict needlessly.
There is something very suspicious going on here.
Well, that is very clear.
You ask who would benefit from assassinating the captain, but additionally, who would benefit from an emissary from the Black Wolves being tarred and feathered?
Wait, what?
Who benefits from stirring all this shit up?
Wait. I'm gonna. Can I either throw insight or can I just go with my hunch is right now?
Give me an insight roll, Skitch. I think I know where you're going, but give me an insight roll anyways.
All right.
That's plenty. Yeah.
All right. No one, the head of the captain, and no one underneath the captain's watch ordered for that to happen to the emissary, did they?
Not as far as you can tell. And he's actually Skitch.
No.
Skitch, better than that.
I'm asking that to him.
Oh, fair enough. He says, "Well, no, I was not aware that happened."
Gotcha. Okay, I think I know who is behind this a little bit more now.
But not.
Vidace will then make the slightly bold assertion: the perpetrator of both this murder and that particular tar and feathering is the same entity, or at least working for the same entity, and their intention is exactly what you stated earlier: creating conflict.
Right. In that case, oh dear. We should probably make haste.
Cultists? I hate crazy cultists.
We should make haste to the town hall.
Yes, we shall.
Because he is actually reasonably bright and has just added 3 + 3 and gotten 6.
Right.
Off in the distance, there's a dwarf hall in it.
Yes. They start catching.
Bird because you. All right. So
the group of you go running back to the to town hall.
Make way for the Speed 7, motherfuckers.
Hana goes zooming off ahead.
Not without me. I'm gonna rig up a cart to where she pulls me along.
Nick,
I have no strength or dex. I don't like running.
Well, yeah. Nick, out of curiosity, are you using any powers to increase your ability to move quickly?
Let's see. Do I have any powers that actually increase it beyond that?
You could actually run and move 9.
Yeah, that's the best I can do.
Okay,
So
I just know that monks do have access to some abilities that do increase their movement, so I just want to check to see if there was any.
Yeah, I don't have any of them.
Fair enough.
My move is 7, but I also left way before them.
So yes, as you're
I'll show up after the fight's over. I'm speed 5.
Well, when you're running, you're speed 7.
Say something for me.
I cannot run all the way to Isengard.
Last one to town hall buys dinner. Last one to town hall buys dinner. See you, Bjorn.
All right, Cathra, you and Hana arrive at about the same time. You had a head start, but she's faster.
Decidedly so.
By the maker, woman, what drives you?
Her legs.
You're not there. You shut the fuck up.
No, he's here for days yelling in the background.
All right, so the two of you enter the building together. Where are you headed in the building?
What time is it?
It is probably just past dinner time.
I will be heading immediately towards where I think the dinner room is.
All right. Well, it's past dinner time, I should say. You guys have been investigating for a while in the house. All right. Well, you guys enter the town hall, and you're confronted by some of the guards who sort of say, can we help you with something?"
I will ask them directly. Where are the
We're the town council and the Black Wolves.
yeah.
Well, the chief and her retinue have gone to their rooms for the night, and the Burgermeister and his family have retired to their chambers. Why?
Hannah, you go to the chambers. You take one guard with you. I'm gonna go to the Black Wolves.
What?
I'm gonna point at one guard, and I'm gonna be like, "Take me there now."
I will take that suggestion and go with it.
All right. So after this quick negotiation, the rest of the group shows up behind you guys because you're not super much faster. You're just faster.
I'm just pushing the guard. Like, go, show me now. We do not have much time.
All right. So yeah. As you guys are heading up towards the various rooms, that's when Gjorm sort of comes barreling through the door. No, he's not breathing too heavily given his constitution.
Yeah, fair.
You lot all need shorter legs. It's not fair.
All right, so
Those are very proficient sprinters.
oh, they can keep it up for a while.
Yeah, dwarves, they don't win the 100-meter dash. They win the triathlon.
The ones who know how to swim do, at least.
Hey, strength.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure triathlon would exist, because I'm not sure bicycles exist.
Yeah, that's true. Fine, marathon, whatever.
At any rate, so you guys are heading off to the Black Wolves area, right?
And don't even
Yeah,
dare
I'll
say that
go-
Greystone exists.
Oh, no.
I'll head off with towards the Black Wolves.
So you guys head towards the Black Wolves. The guards, having been confused into following your orders, actually, they're sort of milling about sort of going up, but the Commander Sand basically bellows at them to go to the Burgermeister's quarters at this point, and they immediately follow orders because their superior has shown up. They know to do that. He basically tells one of them to show you guys off to where the Black Wolves are staying. When it becomes clear that you guys had suggested that already, he sort of nods appreciatively towards you guys and says, "Why did you? What took you people so long to actually follow their advice?"
You're all
Oh, damn it!
listen to the weird strangers,
Well,
the heavily armed
just-
strangers.
Well, to be fair, you guys had been vouched for by the walker, by the walkers. So
Listen to the
Right.
dwarf who is this close to beating someone in the head until they follow her orders.
That's
I've got a hammer, damn it.
so you guys are shown up towards the Black Wolves' quarters.
I will note that I do have my rod and hammer, just openly wielding them at this point.
Yeah, well,
am
the guards have all
terrified.
drawn their weapons too because it's very clear that something's amiss. Yeah.
Yep, staff is out.
So you guys arrive at the Black Wolves' quarters.
Hopefully it's not a hit yet.
Standing outside the door is one of Marta's bodyguards. He looks at you. Looks at everyone with the drawn weapons. Trouble?
Yes.
Maybe.
Open the door.
Marta,
No.
the
If
boys still in there?
at the reply, maybe he opens the door and sort of storms in, looking around. Marta is sort of sitting in a chair. Sitting in a chair, looking around. It's very clear she's been sort of sitting in a chair, sort of being sort of amused at the room. Honestly, because it's basically it's like
Chair goes back and forth.
well, it's not even just that. It's like it's basically a parlor for a noble's house. So there are lots of comfortable chairs. There are bookshelves. There's all sorts of creature comforts, and she's just going, huh.
Maybe this isn't a bad idea.
Well, she seems more amused than impressed. I'll put it that way. But she looks up and says,
It's like a child's room.
She looks up and says, I assume there's a situation.
Absolutely.
I go to the Burgermeister room.
I'm probably going to the Burgermeisters as well. Just.
All right, so you guys head off to the Burgermeisters.
Or actually, no. Actually, where is Walker Gex being as with the Burgermeisters, or is he by himself somewhere else?
That's a good question, isn't it? He's not in this room.
You have higher wisdom scores. You find him. I'm going to the Burgermeister.
1 second.
All I will say is he's not in this room, and no one asked where he was.
You, guard. Where's the walker?
Oh, he down the hall, 4 rooms down to the down the hall on the right. Why?
Okay, I guess I'm going there after I got the instruction.
So you go sprinting off?
Yes.
I mean, he says, "Who would harm a walker?"
Crazy people.
I would kick in the door, but with my 8 strength, I don't think I would succeed.
I'll just follow her and just bust the door down with a hammer.
Fezzik! Fezzik!
Yeah, I'll just equip the dwarf with a cow catcher.
All right, so the door is bashed down, and what you see is Gex desperately holding off, fending off. Basically, he's currently wearing a sleeping gown and a sort of a long pointed cap. That's sort of folded over.
So was I able to?
So he looks like Geppetto.
Well, so,
Kinda, yeah, actually.
So was I able to be led towards where Gex would have been?
Oh, sure, yeah. They all went that way. So yes.
Okay.
You guys all arrived at about the same time. He is currently fending off with his staff a slightly built individual. It's hard to tell. You can't tell gender from looking at them.
Right.
Someone about 5'5" or so, wearing sort of very sort of loose dark clothing. Wearing not loose, but sort of non-restrictive dark clothing that's not too loose, not too tight. With a hooded sort of coat type thing, and a face mask over their face.
The more important question to me is what's their fortitude score, because I shoot a freezing ray at them, or ray of frost.
All right, so let me finish the description. Okay.
Sure.
They are wielding a large curved, large wavy dagger that seems to be made out of some sort of black metal. Cathra, and Skitch. You can all give me Arcana. Actually, you don't even need to give me Arcana checks for this. The dagger radiates rather unpleasant magic, and it's pretty obvious. Word, you can give me an Arcana check if you'd like.
Yeah, sure. Let me just cut and paste this first. 22.
All right. Word, Cathra, you didn't actually inspect the wound, so you wouldn't get this information.
All right.
Word, the magic is very similar to the magic that you detected on the Captain of the Watch's corpse.
Yep, that's a murder weapon.
It seems quite like
a 2B murder weapon in this case. So let's do something about that.
Yeah, because Gex is losing.
Yep. Ray of Frost, go. 23.
Well, you probably have to roll initiative first, I would assume.
No.
Surprise round.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And the best thing is that slows this motherfucker. So they're not getting away. Unless I can teleport like an asshole.
Well, okay.
At any rate, I trust that hits. Mecca?
Yeah, sorry, I was drinking something, so I got something down the wrong pipe.
Ah, fair enough.
Sorry.
Alright.
All right, yeah, your bolt of frost hits her. Or him. It's hard to tell, as I said.
It's
them.
It's him. Yeah. It's
All right,
him.
so they take 11 cold damage and they're slowed.
Are they still alive?
I'm wondering if Mecca is still alive. Are you okay, dude?
Sorry, I got something down the wrong pipe. Give me
Yeah,
a second,
just-
guys. All right.
Yeah, take a moment.
He's fine. It's just those stick around longer than you want them to.
Yeah, what he wasn't able to explain to us was that the assailant was drinking a cup of coffee, and the other hand we just barged in, and then now it's like all like wait.
Foul adventurers, you shall. Hang on a sec. Okay, got it. No, wait.
No, my overpriced latte from Starbucks.
I was just eating some popcorn. Sorry. This fight was getting really good. I couldn't resist.
It's always very entertaining, you see.
Well,
Murder is hilarious.
Murder.
I got a front row seat to the best show on earth.
Oh, God. Sorry about that, guys.
It's alright. You okay?
I think we made the best of it. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. As I said, I just
is
got a
the
little
guy
bit.
still? Is the
Oh.
assassin still alive?
Yes.
All right, I'm dropping a daily one.
Whoa!
Eyes of the. I'm gonna use the vestige of Mount Valus. So it's versus reflex.
That'll hit.
All right.
Really?
You can't-
16 hits the reflex of the slinky silent type? That kind of
Again.
stuff?
Again, technically surprise run, so you get +2. So
Fair.
They cannot run or walk. Save ends. 19 damage.
Stick around, jackass.
okay, what are the rest of you doing?
Walker
I'm going to
Gex, walk
attempt
5
to
feet over
not-
there.
I'm going to
Oh,
attempt to
we
hit him
all arrive
without
at the
killing
same
him.
time?
It's a surprise round, so yeah, you guys. So I'm gonna try to knock him out.
Yep, we all just barged in on this asshole.
Yeah, I
I poison myself between the assassin and Gex.
Okay.
And actually, yeah, I'm gonna knock him down because I can do that. Because
Sketch, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was gonna throw a blunder at him and hopefully hit. But
All right, so I'm not gonna make you guys roll much more at this point. You guys have actually subdued the. Yeah, that hits his will.
and then Eric would get a
Yeah,
hit on that.
he
and I
is
slide him away from everyone
curthumpinated.
else.
The assailant is curthumpinated, knocked down, and is knocked out. There's no. You if you are trying to take them alive, you succeed.
Yes,
we
for the
definitely
moment.
want this guy alive.
And then we pull back to the mask to reveal Joe Barbera.
Who the heck is that guy?
Old Man Jenkins.
I knew that Wyrot would specifically get what I was referring to.
Damn it! Why did Jim Power have to show up here?
Well, no. It is the face. You remove the mask. Gex is when Yorm sort of interposed himself, Gex went sailing back a bit.
Whoops.
And is picking himself up off the ground. It is thanking Yorm profusely, and all of you.
But, no, once it's over, I pick him up, I dust him off. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's quite all right. Quite all right.
On the positive side, you've upgraded from walker to flyer.
For the record, I'm grabbing the knife, but I'm putting a sack over my hand before I do so,
Okay.
and kind of just like grabbing it and pulling the sack up around it, tying it up, and being like, "I'll look at this later," and putting it back on where I keep my bags.
All right. Well, you remove the mask and you see the face of, I'd guess, a young man, probably close to 16 at most, from their features. The only sort of notable thing about them is they're currently unconscious, so they're not really, they're and battered and bruised and partially frozen and
And blundered and all.
and blundered and hit with
We broke their hip, basically.
and thunderbolted. I mean, so you hit them with cold damage, thunder damage, psychic damage,
Dwarf damage.
bludgeon damage, and bludgeon damage.
Not to mention bludgeon damage.
Yeah.
Hana lowers her flaming fists and she's completely unnecessary.
It's like, ha! Aha!
Wait, we need one more for the Final Fantasy Elemental trifecta.
I'm not trying to summon Captain Planet, man.
I call different heart.
Yeah, you take the worthless one. Anyway,
Earth, fire, wind, water, Yorm.
the power of Bjorn to get really, really freaking drunk.
Well, let's be honest. Wasn't Captain Planet always just intoxicated anyway?
No, Ted Turner was.
Captain Planet.
I guess the question is, of course, any markings, indications, tattoos, identification cards, or Costco memberships that we can use to figure out who he is?
They totally do not have a Costco membership.
Damn it, I wanted to go buy baked goods.
So, markings, however, yes, there are. The big thing that you notice, they don't really seem to have much in the way of tattoos or anything like that. But there is something, as you sort of like investigate and sort of look at their eyes and such, make sure they're, because you're making sure they're not like, dead. There is something very definitively, there's something weird about their eyes. It's not obvious, but if you peer really closely and look, examine incredibly closely, and I'm not making you make a perception roll for this, it looks like there's almost like some sort of weird sigil, sort of almost like it's sort of in their eye and such.
Yep, Arcana check.
I am going
Weird.
Yes, it's definitely the sigil in question is definitively magical.
Would that Arcana check?
Oh, jeez.
Would mine be high enough to give me an idea
Yeah.
to be a to give a to recognize it? And
Well, if you want to make
place it?
either a history or religion check, that'd be more useful for identifying what it is.
And the same for me. Do I get a bonus?
I rolled a
Well,
one.
all three of us, with our Arcana combined, we have Captain Nerd.
Well, okay, so the sigil in question is definitively magical, and it grants it grants the person who has it dark vision and some other minor sensory benefits. The important bit is, in fact, you rolled well enough, and you, with your various recent experiences, it is the sigil of Lady Discord. I'm giving you guys some actual relevant bonuses, some actual, it's like
yeah,
circumstantial
context
bonuses. Yeah, those rolls would not be high enough otherwise. But
I'm guessing he's is this mind control, some kind of compulsion or something?
Could just be an agent.
It's inside his eyes. Is what I got. The sigil,
yep,
right?
it is. But from their magical examination, it basically grants the person with the sigil, dark vision and some other sensory benefits as near as they can tell.
Oh, okay.
Have we restrained this person yet?
No, but if you would like to, you may do so.
Yes. I'm gonna yell at Gyorm to restrain him.
Okay, hammers on feet.
They are tied up in some way, shape, or form. Eventually, they sort of
nails their knees to the floor.
Eventually, he starts coming around. At this point, people are filing in and out, going, what happened? Who is that? Someone attacked the Walker. Walker Gex, are you all right? He's like, yes, I'm fine. If you would just stay outside and make sure no one sort of, assure people that no one other than the assailant's been harmed. And we're going to be asking them some questions in a moment.
I'll look at the guards and mention, be sure to keep a good eye on the Burgermeister and the
Chief.
The chief.
Actually, at this point, the Commander Sand basically says, if you don't mind, I'd like to be present for the questioning. I won't interfere with the questioning anyway, but I just want to make sure that I'd like to be present. I'd like to hear what's being said.
You're fine. You're fine.
Sure.
your
I'm going to actually say.
men.
I'm going to suggest that the Burgermeister and what was the chief's name again?
Marta.
Marta. Yeah.
Barda and the Burgermeister. Yeah.
Marta.
Sounds awesome. I'm going to actually suggest that they be present for this.
Big Barda and the Burgermeister, a DC comic book we didn't know about, but now we all want.
Yeah, well, Marta actually wants in, and the Burgermeister, when he's informed, also wants in.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
we'll.
First question I actually have is for the Burgermeister.
There was an M.
Do you know this
Well-
kid?
I've never seen him before in my life.
Hmm.
I mean, he could be a town's member. I don't know all of them by sight. It's a fairly large town.
Yes.
First, I'll repeat that question to the other two, Marta and Sam.
Yeah, Marta and Sand. Neither Marta nor Sand have seen him, met him before.
They're like, no idea.
But yeah, eventually he comes to. And he sort of opens his eyes, he blinks, looks around, realizes he's restrained, and glares at you all. Marta actually, Marta audibly snarls when he's awake. It is very clear that the concept of him, like someone trying to kill a walker, deeply offends her. You do not need to make an insight roll for that in any way, shape, or form. It is blatantly obvious.
I'm gonna grab his face and say hi.
Cathra, we don't even know if he has control over himself.
I'm gonna say hi. My name's Cathra. What's yours?
He looks up at you.
I would do like an intimidate check or something, but I'm gonna desperately try to avoid that. My charisma is 10.
I'm trying to think of.
I will avoid this by using actual violence.
Okay.
Or you could just have me do the intimidate checks because I'm trained in it.
We'll see what happens.
I'm 34.
So that's how they do it.
Where are you from?
I'm from nowhere.
Yeah, that's not. This is not going to work. They intentionally either refuse to give out their identity, or are controlled in such a way where they can't disclose their identity.
I want to check on that. Oh.
What were you,
That
trying to
is
figure,
weird.
what were you trying to figure out with the Arcana check?
Specifically if there's any, thing actively, like, mind controlling him or anything?
No.
Like, that's
Not,
what I was...
not so you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Should I make a check to double check that? Or
Yes.
should I not bother?
If you'd like to.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that ain't gonna cut it.
Vides is going to ask a question to 34. He's going to ask him, how long have you been working this location?
He blinks.
Give me a second, guys.
The echo effect is actually, like, appropriately creepy.
Sorry, I apologize. My browser is acting up a little bit.
That's okay.
Something up.
Picture diving.
No, it's just I was trying to load a file and it wasn't loading properly. That's automated to fiddle with things in a bit.
Which hand did he have the dagger in?
His right hand.
Does it have any weird marks or anything?
Not that you can tell.
Okay. Oh man, the one time I forget to buy a dagger on a character.
Well, I could apply liberal cold to his knees so that the nerves wouldn't send signals properly, and we can just stomp on his feet a lot and then let him
I
get
was
it
going
all
to
at
slap you
once.
both in the back. Seriously.
Let's do the
Those
good
aren't-
cop, bad cop, and not the torturing lunatics thing.
Let's do the back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
I don't
Cop,
plan
first
on
cop.
I don't plan on doing anything.
again, I'm Videa's stance is he is skeptical as to
Sorry, so what was your question? I apologize.
his question was, how long have you been working this location?
He looks at you, and as long as I did to.
Ah, yes, of course. But was that weeks, months, a year or more, perhaps?
He sits there eerily silent. He just stares at you
All right,
impassively.
lad. Where are the others? Where's the
The
rest of your
others.
little cabal?
He smirks and says nothing.
What, you think we're stupid? Come on.
No, it's not a matter that we're stupid. It's a matter of what benefit does he have for saying anything?
All right, lad. I get in real close. Let's make something fucking clear here. You're gonna die. You done some real bad shit, and you're gonna end up hanging. Question is whether it's quick or slow, or whether you rot in some dungeon for 5 years before they finally put you down.
He looks up at you, nods. At which point he grimaces, looks down. You hear a cracking noise,
Mm-hmm.
and then he basically starts gasping for air, and you notice foam start foaming around his mouth.
Yep.
Seems
I-
he's
I'm
I
made,
going-
expected as much.
he's made
Yep.
a decision himself already, it would seem.
Yes. That.
Oh no, you're not dying that simple. I punch my fist into his mouth and start fishing for the poison capsule.
Roll high.
Jordan probably does not know how poison works.
No, he does not.
So now we've got like a dying 16-year-old with dwarf throat going on.
I have no idea what skill you should roll for this, Eric.
Dexterity.
Make a dex roll, yeah.
Roll a grapple check against the pill.
A good roll,
Has
Eric.
advantage for being. The pill has a certain degree of bonuses for being tiny.
All right, Eric. You reach in his mouth, feel around a bit. You feel the remnants of what you can feel are sort of shards of what feels like tooth. But you don't find any like pill or anything like that. Your hand is, we pull it out, is stained faintly green.
I'm going to examine that briefly.
All right.
Well, we
Just-
should probably try to save this guy so we can actually do a proper interrogation.
Not so much.
Not gonna happen.
Can I, with my background in alchemy specifically, sort of just state flatly what I think is the case?
Sure, go for it.
How?
As soon as that capsule, as soon as that capsule broke and enough of the poison got out, you can't save him. It's
While he's doing that, I'm going to pull that dagger out and jam it into his eye. He's dead anyway.
Vidaeus like pulls it back out as soon as you do that.
Yeah, I did that too. I mean, I just jammed it in and pulled it out. I mean, he's dead anyway.
But why do that?
Is he already dead, or is he still foaming?
Oh no, he's dead.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
but if he was dead before, then I wouldn't have done. Then I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
He-
that's
he-
like
okay.
if he hasn't died yet, then I'm just putting him out.
All right, Kithra.
Right.
Kithra.
I look at
Mm-hmm.
Anna.
You take 12 fire damage.
No, I
Vidaeus
take 10 fire damage.
Vidaeus sort of make the notes. This is from what Ma told me about this sort of stuff. This is typically sort of the thing you would see spies use when they get caught. They don't reveal anything, and they simply kill themselves off as fast as possible as soon as there's no escape. By telling him that he was going to
fucking Colts.
By the and then at
By
this
the way,
point,
I'm not kidding about attacking you. I do that.
Oh, I assumed that. I don't have a reaction. I just take the hit and kind of just
Hey, can you stop setting everything on fire?
yeah. I'll just put out any small fires on myself.
Ramia is going to escort all the other personnel from the room so that no one gets hurt in this ridiculousness.
At this point, Vidaeus also would want to address Merida and the Burgermeister briefly, and give them his summation of what he assumes has happened and why. Do you want me to state it out, Peter? Or do you want to just state
Yes,
that as
I'd like to
the-
hear your explanation.
Okay.
Climax inference.
Yeah, okay. The Vidaeus will say, what I suppose has happened here is that this individual, or at least others like him, have been intentionally trying to cause a conflict between the people of Greystone and the Black Wolves. This began when they instigated a tar and feathering of the Black Wolves champion when they arrived here without the knowledge of the heads of the guards. Then this perpetuated as soon as it seemed that there was an attempt to resolve this conflict by one, killing off the captain, who would have been able to clarify that he never ordered such a thing and the events happened outside of his knowledge, and the walker, the one who was attempting to cause peaceful reconciliation. The end goal probably was to actually start a small-scale fight between the Black Wolves and the Greystone, through which there would have inevitably have been a number of casualties, regardless of whomever was going to be the victor. All this was being done for this in the name of one of the Nameless.
Okay, at that, the Burgermeister sort of looks surprised and concerned. Marta sort of inhales sharply, and almost like a hiss. She seems quietly furious.
So at this point, I would be cautious, because there could be other agents of Discord who are trying to foster conflict between the two of you when there really is no reason for there to be conflict.
The Burgermeister sort of looks somewhat skeptical. But the Nameless... what? The Nameless? Really? Why would they be? Why would any of the Nameless be interested in anything like A, why would they be interested in any of this, and B, they were the Namers defeated them all that time ago. They're gone. They have no influence in the world anymore.
They've
been making a bit of a comeback lately.
Yes. Walker Gex should probably enlighten you on this to some degree. As to whether the Namers are
actually, at that
truly
point,
gone.
Marta says there's evidence that their agents have been seen walking the world again, in the less civilized. The word civilized comes out almost like
sarcastic.
Joking it out.
Yeah.
It's not sarcastic per se. It's almost like it's an insult. Yeah. Places in the wilds and such.
At this point, I'll reference to the dagger physically in some way and be like, this is evidence enough that they walk. There's not many ways to get a dagger like this.
Indeed. I can't speak. I can't claim to speak for what the motives of Discord or whomever this might be the source of. I can't claim to speak for the motives. All I can do is construe a plausible explanation given the circumstances and the targets in this case. Every target has been a person who either was directly intending to resolve a conflict or was instrumental in resolving the conflict.
Huh. Well, there is that. Even if either way, even if it's not actually, even if it's clear that someone is definitively trying to cause strife between our peoples. He turns to Martin and sort of nods about that. And even ignoring any we can assume that even if we don't assume that the Nameless have anything to do with it, whether they do or not is, I hate to say irrelevant. It's not entirely irrelevant, but it is either way. It is clear that there's someone trying to cause that. And their motives are less important than thwarting whatever their plots may be, I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
That little shit probably wasn't working alone. It's probably got some, like, priest or cult or something around here. You gotta find him and you gotta put him down.
Did
Well,
you
there's
hear?
at least. Yeah,
Did you hear what the boy said? He didn't identify himself by his true name, his second name, or even a false identity. He called himself a thing. He called himself a number.
Yes, it is clear that his and at the very least there are 33 like him working for the same entity, unless of course that's meant to be a false lead, but
It's possible. It's Discord. The numbers are just as likely random as ordered.
the numbers are made up and the points don't matter. I agree.
As does the cat.
Whose chaos is it anyway?
Problem is, little shit's probably gonna fight to the death. Ain't gonna be able to talk him down from anything. And the cat
Okay.
agrees.
Yeah, so it's Vindays will just sort of nod. It's like, well, yes, it is pretty clear that they're not going to talk, which means if we need someone to talk, we have to talk to not them, but who they're working for. Unless they're just going to kill themselves as soon as possible, too.
I hope that you understand what this means, and I'm speaking to the two leaders. This third party is not going to be interested in fair combat to settle things, and is not going to be interested in diplomacy to settle things. The best way that you can deal with this situation is simply to deny them what they were seeking, simply to cooperate between your two groups.
The Burgermeister is nodding in agreement. Marta sort of grimaces a little bit, but says, "That is logical." It makes sense. And if it is truly one of the nameless who's behind this, then I can hardly fault you or your people for being swayed by them. They have ways of doing things. But either way, there has been my people's honor has been impugned to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be addressed. But I don't want it to be too strenuous or I propose, as always, I propose we pick two champions to have a simple contest, and no matter the outcome, just to the loser is quote at fault, and honor will be settled that way.
Perhaps we should simply make it into some sort of, I don't know, a feast. With the competition happen to spark.
Oh, this is awkward. I'm not usually the one who suggests this. I've technically settled conflicts like this before.
The two of them turn to you and say, "Oh, really?"
We're not doing an arranged marriage.
Marta sort of blinks a couple times and says, "Huh. I've heard worse ideas."
I mean, if you want to, that's your deal. I'd rather have
The Burgermeister's like, well...
Vidius will actually vouch and indicate that...
Hana looks embarrassed but hopeful.
And the Burgermeister
Vidius will chime in and actually vouch for Hana's capabilities at it, and just I'll throw in diplomacy just to kind of sweeten that point. Yeah, it's great. It's 11.
It's not that bad. I wasn't asking for a roll, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So the Burgermeister turns to you and says, "You are, I take it you're a disciple of the Hearthmaker, then?"
Yes, I travel around and marry people.
Marta has a bit of a wolfish grin on her face.
You're like, I know. Named you husband and wife. You may punch the bride. No, both you punch each other.
The Burgermeister says, "Well, honestly, it's probably about time that Alan got married. Honestly."
As soon as all of this
Alan in the room? Is Alan in the room?
As soon as all of this conversation starts, Armin is just going to leave disgusted.
Okay.
Is Alan in the room?
Nope.
Damn it!
Armin is going to go tell him to skip town tonight.
And then he'll.
I'm not really doing that, but
I don't know.
I'm
Marta's
just
like,
gonna giggle and be like, I wish there was a fight. I'd rather watch a fight.
There might be a fight at the wedding.
Yeah.
The Burgermeister...
There's at least 2 dwarves, so I can agree to that.
Burgermeister turns to Martin and says, I don't know what the customs on marriage amongst your people are. Do you have anyone in mind who would be a suitable candidate? The one possible problem is that Alan is my heir and would have to,
Clearly the best choice is Arn.
I don't think he's gonna like that.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I agree.
Non-canon player voice is saying that for the sake of comedy. I like the idea of hothead, I'm gonna kick everyone's ass dude. It's like, oh yeah, you're marrying the dude's son. Wait, what?
I'm not sure which of them would recognize the marriage, but...
Yeah. Well,
Oh hey, maybe it works for both of them. We don't know. Who are we to judge?
sort of thinks a little bit on our slope. Yes, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a matchmaker either, so I'm not sure who, unless, well, Marta, do you know of anyone
Say, you got
in
a
your...
Well,
sister or cousin or something?
Hana's
I'm
going
sure
to
I can think of someone. This is something we can discuss.
Hana kind of cocks her head at Marta and wonders if she's married.
Well, the problem is Marta really can't, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Ramya hadn't left, Ramya would be wondering how much Hana wants to keep her head.
That's why.
Because Marta probably would not like that suggestion.
That's why I said Hana wonders instead of Hana asks.
Yeah.
Oh, if you had asked that, I'd probably be laughing so hard in character. Doubled over.
Well, I
Mostly
know.
because
This
you just
problem
punched me.
is solved like everything, with blood and sex. So now we need boots.
Quite.
Ramya's just reading a book in her room somewhere. Not even her room, just a room. Just pick one.
So, and it's agreed then. One of you lot's going to marry one of the other lot, and that'll solve the problem.
Well, yeah.
It should help.
Yeah, it'll help.
At any rate, as to rooting out these, I don't know how to go about it, honestly.
Well, that may not be something that we would want to impose on you as a burden. To be fully honest, this is loosely related to our reasoning to want to get in touch with, well, Walker Gex in the first place anyway, so maybe best handled by him and us, while you focus on making sure that your two communities prosper effectively.
Ah, well said. But if you need my assistance in this matter, and it's something we can provide, do not hesitate to ask. Marta sort of agrees, says absolutely. If the Nameless are indeed involved in this, the Black Wolves would be more than happy to help. Yeah. And with that, the two of them basically sort of agreed to sort of, but at this point, we have things to discuss in the morning, and probably should get some rest. Also, the guards want to, remove the body.
Oh, sure. I mean,
get the dead body out of the walker's room. Also, they're getting a carpenter to fix his door.
Sorry about the door.
Given the situation, I'm thoroughly and utterly, completely happy with the way things happened.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at the Burgmeister and be like, sorry about your door, but
he has a similar sort of, given the situation, it's understandable. He's not enthused about it, but he's understanding.
Time was of the essence, and I only have a strength of 13.
But you have a hammer.
I have a hammer and a magic attack with it that goes off things that aren't strength.
Right. At any rate,
when all you have is a hammer and magic spells, everything there starts to look like a nail that can be nailed in with magic.
Yeah. At any rate, that is basically what I had prepped for today. So,
Hana's going to go to bed looking really happy.
So we will pick up again next time with more tomfoolery. Before we go, I want to check with you guys. So, what angle do you guys want to look into? Do you want to keep looking into the into Lady Discord stuff, or do you want to head to Ironham still?
I think I was planning on Ironham anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'll prep for next time
Ironham.
then.
Like this, I think since everyone's on alert now, Gex will be all right around here. Doesn't really need us.
Well, he's
Well,
probably
Gex is going to Ironham.
he's going to Ironham anyway.
he is?
So
Right now, well,
Yeah.
At any rate,
whatever.
so that's going to do it for this week. You guys all level up.
Stat boosts.
And we'll be back next time with more of the campaign. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're watching the recording of this on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe. You know, all the jazz. This is recorded on twitch.tv/MechaGM. We play every Saturday, roughly 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern is when we start. And we play on from there. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys soon. Take care and have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.